it wasn't until after going through psych care that I decided I should be a thespian. That might be where my people are. When it came to Crackhead, it was like this full circle thing. It's like, okay, well, maybe this will do for people what Girl Interrupted did for me. Then I was naive enough to think, yeah, okay, I'll just pitch it to Warner Brothers.
Welcome to the Actor's Guide to the Underworld podcast, where we talk about acting in Hollywood in a way people understand. I'm Kahn Song, and this is
Rían Kelly.
Follow us wherever you find your podcast at Actor's Guide Podcast. You know the drill. Send to a friend if you enjoy it. Let's just get right into it. Look who it is. For those watching on YouTube, you get a shot of the big happy family over here. Anyway, so formally, welcome to the show, Holly, Shervey, Emmett Skilton, old friends, Leslie Kahn Studio, power couple from across the globe, and this is the first time. This is the first time that we have two people on, but technically we have three. Yeah. So I don't even know if we can handle this bandwidth. But
also, we've never had a guest outside of America yet, right? Is that true?
Well, that's good.
We're ticking a lot of boxes today.
Fucking crushing it.
You guys just released your TV show. There's a lot to catch up on, and you also just happen to have your first child. So you guys are very busy. Thanks for making time for us.
Oh, we're so good. Thank you guys for having us.
Incredible. The show we're talking about, for anybody who doesn't know, is the show Crackhead, written by Holly Shervey, directed. How many did you direct? All of it, Emma?
Yeah, directed all 8. It was quite a gift to be able to do that. Right from the get-go, it was very clear that we wanted to be across every episode in as great a detail as we could.
And Holly's starring in it. So you brought two miracles into the world, your show and your baby.
It's wild, it's intense, but I don't think we'd change a thing. Like, it's pretty magical.
Yeah. Our first moments away from her were about 3 weeks. She was about 3 weeks old, and we had a release, like a launch event at a cinema for the show. And it was kind of weird going, there's something missing here.
There's a baby at home and we're here.
That's amazing. And so it's airing on HBO Max in Australia. Is that the okay? Awesome.
Is there plans for a wider release? Are we going to get to see it over here?
Gradually sorting distribution. The way that our funding body in New Zealand works is you have New Zealand distribution first. And so for us, it's on one of our major networks here, but also streaming services here. And then it made a sale to HBO Max, and it's consistently in the top
10 in Aussie.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
We're alongside things like the Pitt and
Euphoria.
DTS and Euphoria and
that's awesome.
Rooster. So we feel pretty bloody fortunate. Yeah.
Reviews,
that's gotta feel good.
It looks amazing. The reviews are great, and we hear that it's opening a lot of doors for you guys, and we'll get to that later. But I guess before we get to all of the success of Crackhead, can we talk a little bit about how you guys started acting, where you're from? What was like the start of your acting journey?
You hit it, Em. I'll follow your lead.
Oh, well, I've been acting since I was a kid, like a teenager. So I do sort of stage stuff and improvisation. I did a lot of improvisation when I was like an early teen, and then found that TV was the like where it's at. It was incredibly fun, and I had some really great connections in the film industry just from things like doing improvisation shows. At the end of every school term, we'd have this public showing, and a director came along to watch that, a guy called Danny Mulheron, and then he cast me in my first speaking role on TV, and that was kind of it.
Sorry to cut across you. What was the improv scene like in New Zealand then?
Well,
this
was youth improv. And it was sort of framed as a opportunity for kids to do improvisation, because there were maybe 2. You know, we didn't have our second cities and our groundlings, and I knew of things because of Whose Line Is It Anyway. That was the really big thing that we understood what improvisation was in New Zealand, and seeing those guys perform was incredible. A guy called Keith Johnston, who was one of the masters of improvisation, came to New Zealand, did a little workshop, and from there was this sort of youth initiative that started. Well, where I grew up in New Zealand, we call it low decile. So I grew up in an area that didn't have a lot of funding or opportunity for performing arts. So, mentioning the improvisation stuff that I did, that was all outside of school. There was an initiative called the Sheila Wynne Shakespeare Competition, which is every year there is a big festival held where schools come and do either a 5 minute or 15-minute piece of Shakespeare. But I always had this. I mean, I grew up watching people like Jim Carrey, and I grew up watching, you may know Rían, The Young Ones, right?
Yeah,
Which is
absolutely. Yeah, Rick
bloody
Mail and
filthy, brilliant comedy. And then you kind of surround yourself by, as Holly mentioned, thespians. And it's like, I don't want to be doing Shakespeare, you know?
yeah.
I mean, Hamnet is fantastic. And I wish that was the story of William Shakespeare. But I kind of just had this relationship to performance that was follow my bliss, follow the fun, rather than follow tradition, if that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's why I was sort of finding my feet in the screen industry, which sort of had less tradition around it and had less expectation of, iambic pentameter and all that kind of.
When I was growing up, my stepmom was a casting director, and we had a casting office at home. So she was like
Wow.
running into
Wow.
the kitchen to fix the roast chicken while in the middle of castings. And so I weirdly fell into it that way because initially we'd get casting commercials, and then it was onto short films, and then there were great features being shot around Queenstown, which is where I grew up in New Zealand, like Lord of the Rings, and this one called The Water Giant. So it was kind of just there. And then after school, I had a little dip, and as you guys know, went into psychiatric care. And it wasn't until after going through psych care that I decided I should be a thespian. That might be where my people are. And from there, I went to a drama school in Auckland, in New Zealand, and this guy came in as a guest speaker, and I decided to put him on my vision board.
Yeah, what's whack is that I auditioned for a TV show from Wellington, and that's what took me to Auckland. In a lot of ways, Auckland is our capital of the screen industry.
Okay.
And so I did a TV show for 3 years and happened to go into places like drama schools as guests. And that's where I first met Holly. Yeah.
That's
Did you know you were on a
amazing.
vision board?
He did not.
Does that work? There's no greater evidence that it works than the two of you sitting beside each other.
The first time I went to her place, middle of a party, we went round the corner to her house and she made me wait outside, right?
While I had my vision board.
Oh my God. Wow.
So yeah, the vision is real. It works out too.
Yeah.
Yeah, manifestation is real, everyone.
Did you have much theater? Did you get much theater exposure, Holly? Was that something that like?
No, not at all. I think, have you guys seen the Lord of the Rings films?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I grew up in Queenstown, which is that scenery. So any big productions and big commercials would usually go to Queenstown to shoot. So it felt like growing up, I was always, because stepmom was a casting director, that was the way I had my in. I don't even think we've got a theatre in Queenstown. We have like a memorial hall.
Wow.
So I didn't I didn't watch theatre shows. There was a drama class at school, but I mean it was just fun drama. There weren't big productions and stuff. So it was definitely in the world of commercials and short films and like being a featured extra on things like Lord of the Rings where I found my people.
Yeah.
You're a featured extra in Lord of the Rings?
My brother was. He was one of the orcs. And weirdly, you know how the orcs have like crazy hair? They ran out of wig.
Yeah.
And so he got stuck with a straight head, like Cleopatra Egyptian looking wig. And so if you went back, you could probably spot him.
You can spot him?
Yeah, he's the orc that's had a
awesome.
shower.
Why does that orc look so groovy?
I actually visited Wellington. That's the only city that I got to visit. So I got to go over to Wellington, and I loved it. I would love to go back to New Zealand, but and then I did a one of the Lord of the Rings tours. So you guys were plugged in pretty quick. When you started working as a professional actor, did you feel like I could do this for the rest of my life? Like, did you feel like this is exactly what I want to do?
Yeah, the moment I got accepted into drama school, which was one of the leading ones here, I was like, this is it. And they really implemented in us to create your own work as a way of surviving. And so I kind of credit them for that.
That's brilliant.
And me, I'm not really a planner. So I kind of take every day and every job as it comes. And I think I've always followed my nose with the craft of acting and the opportunities I get. And so, yeah, I just feel like take what I got at the time. There's definitely been panic times where I've gone, fuck, do I need to get a real job? And fortunately, I've, followed my nose into another opportunity every time, whether that be, to do with behind the scenes or in front of the camera. It's, yeah, I've managed to figure it out as I go.
I feel like I've fallen backwards into everything, including acting. Like there was no plan of going into it. I sort of happened by accident. So I'm definitely more in that camp. What was your first big job where you went, oh yeah, this is it?
Back to the vision board. I put there's this soap opera in New Zealand called Shortland Street, and I really wanted to be on that show. And I was lucky enough to get cast in a little guestie on that. But weirdly enough, a few years later, I got one of their core roles. So they recast me as a different character. And I really feel like that show, it's been running in New Zealand for over 30 years. And it's kind of like a training ground here. So when I got my long stint on Shorties, that was probably my real big first gig into the industry.
Yeah, you've done Auckward Love before that.
Oh yeah, that was
we created our own web series called Auckward Love, which was, Holly wanted to act, sharpen her skills as a writer, or use any skills as a writer, and that was my first step into directing. And that's still on YouTube. I can't remember whether it's geo-blocked in the States, but it's still on YouTube. So we ended up doing 3 seasons of that, 8 episodes at a time, very short form. The first season was about 10 minutes. Latest, the third season got up to, I think, 18 minutes an episode, somewhere around there. And from there, Holly jumped into Shortland Street for a year and a half, 2 years before we could do a season 4. And as Holly was leaving Shortland Street, the producer asked me if I wanted to direct there. And so around the time I met you guys, I was still directing there. And so I did that for about 5-6 years. So it's certainly a training ground for us all. And that was my first experience as a director professionally, or for someone else, let's say.
What was the turnaround like at that? Because I have a couple of friends who've done soaps and learned an awful lot, and some learned so fast.
The time that Holly and I were there, you were making an episode, or filming an episode a day. And I'm delivering 5 episodes. I'm filming 5 episodes at a time for 5-day edit. So it's very fast. And I think it might be the fastest in the Southern Hemisphere.
I found that quick turnaround tough because sometimes you're getting brand new lines. And so sometimes it felt like you're just retaining lines. There's so many. So that was like the beauty of Crackhead, is the depth and the time that you had to like sink into a role like that. Whereas with the fast turnaround, I don't know if you get that depth as an actor. Is that fair to say?
It is. You know what's interesting about that is that sharpening my teeth as a director at Shortland Street made me realize that an actor is a very small cog in a bigger machine. I think before that, I'd always put so much importance on myself as an actor.
As we do.
I used to watch the monitor and I used to go, oh, I can fix this. I can change that. I can go behind the monitor with the director and have a look at how that take went, and then go and sort of self-correct in a sense.
Yeah.
And then doing Shortland Street, I went, there is sometimes just turning up and saying your lines is the most valuable thing that you can ever do for a production.
Yeah.
And then, being a director, I think you get a stronger creative stake in a production. And that's what drew me to continuing directing, I think.
Would you actually say that you would prefer one over the other?
Yeah. I don't often publicly say it because people will go, well, we're not going to cast you then. But I fucking love directing. I'm just I get such a thrill from it. And especially something like Crackhead. Obviously, we're going to get to it, but we had months to prepare for Crackhead. Holly had the script so early. We've been living with it for half a decade. And so being able to really deliver the product that we've dreamed of was phenomenal. And you go, why would I ever do anything else in my craft?
Yeah.
Why would I ever approach a project differently than Crackhead?
It's
amazing.
very empowering to be a showrunner or director or a writer and to see a project right through. And I think sometimes when you are just a cog, when you are just doing the acting part, it can be disempowering.
Yeah.
You're literally
Yeah.
like, you're the dream. Like, personally, for me, like both of you together, that's the dream, to star in your own show, create it, and then also direct it. That's literally what I would love to do. So you had all these reps. So you actually had 2 hit web series before Crackhead, Millennial Jenny and Auckward Love. When I first got to know you, Leslie was already raving about Millennial Jenny as that is a success story for a web series. Then you get to Crackhead, where you have bigger budget and bigger resources. Can you talk a little bit about how that all kind of, that transition?
I think it's like that thing where I grew up with a casting director stepmom. It's these weird things that are happening in the background that you don't realize how feeding into your future. So it's like with Auckward Love and the creation and the writing, and we were so naive. We were just like, we can do anything we want, which is a great space to be in when you're starting out.
Yeah, we convinced a sex shop and a casino to pay us to film there.
Wow.
So that's how
Casinos
naive
love
we
paying
were.
out, I heard.
Yeah, exactly.
But Auckward Love and Millennial Jenny were actually the foundation blocks for being able to do something like Crackhead, being able to create and write and have Emmett direct. We had this language going, we had this way of working, and that was the foundation blocks helping us, I think, be prepared for something like Crackhead, which is a motherfucking TV show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Am I right in thinking
Yeah.
Millennial Jenny came by because you wanted to film a scene for your reel?
Yeah, an American scene. We were, I think, yeah, it was a US scene I wanted to prep for a reel. And then once we'd shot it, I put it on Instagram and people loved it. They were like, what is this? Is this part of a show?
Yeah.
And we were like, no, but it could be.
Could be.
Wait. Did it premiere on YouTube and then you also put clips on Instagram, or you literally just put the clip on Instagram, found something, and then started producing more as an official TV show?
No, well, for Millennial Jenny, it was always going to be Instagram.
Did you shoot it in a vertical
And
format?
I think,
No.
no,
we were shooting
it's showreel.
that
So
came
it
later.
It was 16 by 9, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was.
The original
So
scene.
normal landscape.
Yeah, because we were doing it for Holly's reel, and so we filmed 1, then we filmed 5, and then we continued doing. I would say,
Actually, we went from landscape to square to vertical.
yeah, and to be honest, we were testing a lot of things out. Like I remember when Instagram went from 1 minute to 3 minute, and all of a sudden we went, shit, we can now do 3-minute episodes. They introduced reels, which was okay. Now we're vertical, so I converted a lot of the old episodes into vertical and square if the quality wasn't high enough. And
Right.
yeah, so it was really once again following our nose and following the audience and following the sort of trends.
You guys are ahead of the curve because now everyone's talking about verticals, and you guys were already crushing that years ago.
What's insane is that we have pretty much self-funded about 100 or something episodes of Millennial Jenny. Is it 100? Something fucked up like that.
Yeah,
eh?
something fucked up like that. I think it might be.
And
Yeah.
we've tested everything from doing standalone to doing like arcing seasons to doing single punchline to doing double punchline. And now you see all these, there's rules for verticals. Verticals, you have to grab them in the first X amount of seconds. You have to have one punchline. You have to. It's just like, fuck, man. Where was this blueprint for us?
Yeah, maybe we were the blueprint.
Maybe. I mean, that's
I know,
I'm joking.
exactly.
trial and error as well. Like when we're going in blind like that. So you're in New Zealand. How did you get to America? Did you have ideas about coming to America? Did you know anyone here? Like, tell me about.
Well,
Yeah.
this feeds into the vision board story.
Okay.
Well, so this vision board situation occurred around New Year's Eve at the end of 2013.
Yeah.
Right. And so my TV show, the one that I did for 3 years, that had sold internationally. to places like Sci-Fi Channel in the UK, Space Channel in Canada, and Sci-Fi in the US as well.
What was the show? Sorry.
The show's called The Almighty Johnsons. They call it a dramedy, but a drama comedy with a supernatural sort of base to it around Norse gods.
Oh, cool.
But because it's a Kiwi show and it's got Kiwi humor, it's about sort of my character Odin following his destiny and becoming all the power that we can just by me finding Frigg and shacking up with her. But because it's a Kiwi style of show, one of the characters is the god of ice, but all he can do is sort of make drinks colder, and he works for a refrigeration service. So just sort of things like that. It's really good. We sold to the US, and so I had some interest from people in the UK and the US. I went to the UK for 3 months at the end of 2013. And on my way, I stopped off in LA and went, fuck, this is awesome. And so the whole time that I was in the UK, it was cold. It was a little bit miserable. The UK being London. Rían, I did not make it across to Ireland.
It's all right.
Though I've just been in Scotland for a month.
Oh, nice.
But the thing about being in LA, there was just this massive, I don't know, it just felt good. Everything had sunshine on it. And everyone was like, I'm an acting class and all of that kind of stuff. And so I spent 3 months in the UK thinking about LA.
Nice.
And then I came back to New Zealand, packed all my shit up, decided to move to LA, and met this lady or hung out with this lady over New Year's, which is Vision Board night.
Was that the first time you guys hung out?
So, properly, yeah. We had maybe a week prior to that, and then so pretty quickly fell in love, and was like, okay, well, I'm moving to the US, but you'll come visit. And so I don't know. I spent the next 5 years living between two countries. Holly coming to visit. Yeah, had management there quite quickly, and had a good team of people, like a family of people there quite quickly who are very strong friends. My best friend still lives in LA.
I didn't realize you guys had roots in LA. So sorry, I'm trying to track your guys' love story. So how long was he on your vision board, and how long did you guys know each other?
He was on my vision board for maybe the time he came in as a guest speaker to the end of that year, so maybe 6 months.
Okay, 6 months.
Respectable vision board duration.
Yeah.
Very respectable. And so we met in New Zealand, and then I went over to LA, and obviously we were still in touch, and she came over to visit me there. And within a year, she was over in LA, and I proposed to her at the end of 2014 in LA.
Which was a big surprise because we'd never talked about it.
Wow.
So I even turned around and I was like, is this a joke? And
Which is exactly the response that you would want when you make a proposal.
And, avoiding traditionalism, as I mentioned in theatre, I called her dad and I called her grandma. Holly's mum's passed away, so I called her grandma, sort of doing a semi-traditional thing of, can I take your daughter's hand in marriage or your granddaughter's hand in marriage? Both of them said, well, that's really up to Holly. It all makes sense. Back in the day, it was up to the parents. So anyway, so we were engaged after a year. And then from there, I got a lot of jobs in New Zealand, so I'd spend even longer back in Auckland.
Amazing. And Holly, had you an interest in America? I mean,
big time. And I think it was that thing of like growing up, the TV you watched. And for us, it was like Home Improvement, Malcolm in the Middle, those sorts of things. And so that becomes the dream. And then when Emmett was over there and I went over, I spent the New Zealand summer there, and I got to do UCB improv. That's where I met Leslie, I started the Leslie Kahn side of things. And that we don't have training like that in New Zealand. I went there and I was like, this is fucking amazing. This is where I want to be. These are the people I want to be surrounded by. And so I think that was always the pull. Like, yes, New Zealand's home, but there was always this pull to come to LA to be surrounded by that.
And I think it's similar in Ireland. There isn't that thing, but whatever Leslie does does not exist in Ireland. And you know, I ask about LA because like I'd never been to America before I moved, and I just won a green card in the visa lottery, and that's how I got
You
over.
lucky
Yeah,
bastard.
that's like I didn't. It was pure. I entered it once, and then it was the fear of like, oh shit, I guess I'm going to America now. But I didn't have a plan.
So let's get to Crackhead. By the way, great name. It kind of gives me like, I feel Train Spotting vibes. It's a little dark because it is based on your personal journey, your story. How long were you guys working on that concept? And can you tell us just how it all came about, the opportunity?
Yeah, so I think at the end of 2017, after we'd done 3 seasons of Auckward Love, it was like, okay, what's the next project? And Auckward Love was a series based on my awkward dating experiences before I met this guy. And I've always been inspired to tell stories that are true to me. It just feels like that's such a great in because you've lived this world, you know these characters, and it comes so easily when you're fleshing out a story. And so the next thing was, okay, I want to go a little darker, a little grittier. And for me, that was telling the story of my time in psych care. And before I went into psychiatric care, my one way of knowing what I was to expect was watching the film Girl Interrupted, because I couldn't talk to anyone about what it was like to be in a mental institution, to be suicidal, to have an eating disorder. And so I watched that film and I was like, okay, maybe this is what I'm in for. And I'd always held on to that in the back of my head. And so when it came to Crackhead, it was like this full circle thing. It's like, okay, well, maybe this will do for people what Girl Interrupted did for me. And so I took the idea to my writing mentor and we fleshed it out. And then I was naive enough to think, yeah, okay, I'll just pitch it to Warner Brothers.
Amazing.
And this is Warner Brothers New Zealand TV Productions. So there's a lot of branches of Warner Brothers, and one of them is the New Zealand-based television production company.
Yeah, and so I took it to them. And
how did you do that? Like when you from the idea of like, okay, I'm going to pitch it to Warner Brothers. Like, where do you start? Like, how did you find an email address? Like, what do you do?
I was weirdly confident, and so I called them and I found the head of scripted online, and I was like, I have an idea and I'd like to pitch it to Philippa Rennie, who is the head of scripted. I've made this series Auckward Love, and somehow I got a meeting. And then it's that thing when you're just face to face with the person, you're just with the person having a chat.
Yeah.
Which I think we forget when we're like, we're going in to pitch. But when you're just going in and you're having a conversation about an idea, it's wildly easy.
And I think that's the benefit of it being from you, from your heart, from your experience, is that our journey with Crackhead has always been people have attached themselves to the heart of what it's about. And Holly being the person fronting that, I've seen the conversations Holly's had with the various producers or cast crew, and how they relate to Holly on a very human level when she discusses what Crackhead is and what it can be and what she wants it to be. It's a whole different ballgame when you're coming from that place.
It's never been a project about selling. It's been a project that, hey, this is a story and it's got great heart.
Yeah.
And I think that's always been really powerful for people.
Absolutely. There was David Nutter, who's a TV director, came into Leslie's place one day, and I asked him a question. I was like, what? Because he'd started directing kind of out of nowhere, and I was like, what gave you the confidence? And he goes, well, I didn't know any of the technical stuff, but I knew how to make people care about things. And I thought that was such a beautiful way of putting it.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And I love that that's...
Oh, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, I love that's what draws people into this show, and it makes it so much more meaningful for everybody, for you, for them, for everybody involved. That's incredible. And so what was the process like? So you pitch it to them, and then what happens after that? Like, what's the...
And so real quick, Holly, what year was that? Like, what year was that phone call, that cold phone call?
That was, I think it was at the beginning of 2019 that Warner Brothers said, yeah, we'll develop this. So we've got, yes, we'll develop it. And it was great. We had a writer's room. We had some really good momentum. And then COVID was soon after that. And so things really halted. And Crackhead is such a risky, dangerous, wild show. You've got eating disorders, anxiety disorders, suicidal ideation, sexual assault, you name it. And it's when you put that in front of a network, it's not an easy yes.
And the reason it's not an easy yes is because they have commercial obligation, they've got public obligation. There's a massive risk involved with putting those things on screen. It's slightly different from something like Netflix, where of course they have, rules around what they could, should, whatever show. But with New Zealand TV, there's a very strict, can I get this across the line with the people that are A, paying the money, and B, that are putting advertising money into putting this on screen, among other things to discuss, And so, Crackhead was never an easy sell.
No, and so it didn't make progress with the networks here for a long time. And then Warner Brothers had to let it go. And then I have an incredible agent, and he, there was a new head of commissioning at one of the networks, and he got it in front of her, and she jumped on the project. And then she was looking at us to be the production company. But then I mentioned that it had been with Warner Brothers previously. And so I went back to Warner Bros. And they were like, fuck yeah.
Literally, I think the words that Philippa said were fuck yes. Fuck yes, let's do this. Something to that effect.
And it was just the right team at the right time.
Yeah, but it's that same thing as well. You have the head of scripted at Warner Brothers is trying to pitch a show to networks. Networks are saying no because of the risk around it, and then eventually that right from the horse's mouth, you get in front of the network. The network goes, "Oh, that's this show.
Yeah.
That's what this is." And the woman that was the head of this programming for this network at that point, commissioner
Tina.
At that network was a woman called Tina McLaren, and she loves a risk. And she, I don't know if people know much about cars, but I'm pretty sure she has a manual like early 2000s WRX, Subaru WRX. So she was just so game for taking a risk on a show like this.
So when Emmett first proposed to me, I had to take, it took me about an hour to be like, I've got to tell him I was in a mental institution because he may not want to be with me for the rest of his life. And that's how much shame I had about having been in that place. And so then I told him, and he was like, yeah, sweet. So, and that was the first moment I had been able to talk about that place. And then, so being able to share it through Crackhead, and then anyone I talk to about this show, this idea, this story, they're like, well, yeah, I've got someone in my family who's been through it, or I've been through it myself. And it's just taken so much of the shame away.
Yeah, what's wild is watching Holly over the last 13 years. Only now is she speaking about it with confidence. She wouldn't have been able to do this podcast a year ago. There would have been a lot held back and a lot, hey, can you take this out? Hey, I don't want to mention that. And just I've seen that a lot of people have my opinion about it. It's kind of, there's a stigma around it and in many societies. And it kind of feels nice that the stigma is being removed from it for Holly.
Wow.
That's amazing.
What did you show them or say to them when they were like, oh, that's the show?
They had the original treatment and the first draft of a pilot. So they, but they also, Tina was the one who, our original series, Auckward Love, she was the network at a different network, and she got that one on their on-demand service. So she'd worked with us before. She knows our style. And so I think it wasn't just about the project. I think she actually had belief in us.
Mm.
Oh, 100%. And I think that's kind of, I'm just wrapping my head around just the community and the team that you built, because it's people that did know your work and know your character and the type of projects that you can put together. So there was a lot of trust in you guys as creators.
Tina McLaren, it's so much about who you know and what they think of you, and always putting your best foot forward. And I think that's, as Holly said, about our style. Our way of making shows has always been pretty consistent, high conviction, really dedicated to making sure every single thing we can squeeze onto screen is there.
You're forgetting the main thing. Just don't be a dickhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's usually a pretty good rule right there.
That is the main thing, I think.
Like, we love to have a fun set, and I think we've always brought that kind of energy to it, and we've attracted like-minded people with that same energy.
Yeah, we've just done the shit that we want to do. You know, it's tried not to make it precious and tried not to make it ourselves self-important, and collaborated, listened. I mean, shit, people have such good ideas. As a director, sort of treating an environment like a dictatorship is the fucking worst thing you can do, because you are seeing one version of this puzzle, and someone else might go, what about this version for this scene? And it will completely change how the entire narrative works. So, yeah, being open to ideas is a big thing too.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, exactly. So let's jump right into Crackhead. So what were the biggest challenges or biggest surprises when you got an official big or bigger TV show with Crackhead? Did you have a lot of notes? You had to clear things with network and distributors. What was that experience like?
Well, here's what's interesting. We thought we were going to have a lot of network or producer involvement saying, no, do this. But because it was Holly's show and Holly's heart on screen, what did we have, Holes?
They honored that. They honored our vision. They believed in the vision, and they gave us creative freedom. And I think that, and we were all speaking the same language. It wasn't a team of like trying to convince other people that, oh no, this is the vision. Oh wait, but I saw it that way. It was just it was a collective vision that we kind of kicked off, right?
Yeah, big time. And with all that prep time that we had, we were very well prepared for the look and the feel of the clinic and the characters and what they look and feel like, who they were based on, or some of them were based on real people. But in terms of casting, like what kind of energy we wanted them to have to make the whole ensemble. We also sat down with our cinematographer, Dave Cameron, in this very lounge.
And we went through the scripts line by line, and we found inspiration for what we wanted the shot to be.
Interrogating the script, right? We do that stuff with LK from Leslie Kahn from a acting perspective, and we're honoring the writer. In this situation, we got to do everything from break it down of how we wanted the audience to feel in a scene, what we wanted it to do visually, what we wanted to happen, what our inspo for that scene was. Like, we have a series of trauma flashes throughout it, and that was inspired by Born Identity's use of chromatic aberration, which is how they fuck with the light. It was using some of Fight Club's sort of glitching. It was using some of the slow-mo and the face locking that we have in
Sherlock Holmes.
Like, we just went to town. Train spotting, we certainly looked at the fucking worst toilet in Scotland.
Yeah.
And,
of course,
we just had this chance to go, how do we want this scene to feel?
And also, he did this really great thing of, he was like, whose scene is this? So if he was unsure about like what character's POV we're in, usually we're in my character's, Frankie's, and he would question, he was like, oh, this one feels like we're in the staff's heads a bit. And so he would shoot it in a way where we were like obscure to them.
Observational.
Yeah.
So this is Dave Cameron, the DOP again. It was incredible having the creative eye in the room with us, building it as we go. Quite often, as a director, you're catching up with the DOP is with you on your first recce. First time you go and look at locations and
scouting,
things like that, scouting.
Oh,
right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so it was quite a blessing to have all that time together and just dream. And I think I can't quite recall whether we knew what camera we had at this point, which I'll get into because that's cool too. But we go, oh yeah, I want this scene to be shot from above, because we don't get to do that. We've got a party scene right at the start, and this is a girl under the influence, and I really want the whole scene to corkscrew, and the whole frame starts to fuck with the audience's perspective. And there's moments where we're trying to stay in Frankie's head, and the versatility of the camera that we used meant that we could move with Frankie very, very quickly into kind of her experience and put the audience in that front seat. because the camera that we ended up using was the Ronin 4D, the same one they used on Adolescence, which is phenomenally versatile for a show like ours, which had fuck all time to shoot and fuck all budget.
Yeah.
The whole thing was shot on 3.5 million New Zealand, so that's about $45 US.
Yeah. We'll get a quick conversion. We'll get a quic conversion on that, but we got an idea
you
now.
can convert it. I'm pretty sure that's accurate. Yeah,
It is.
look at the price of oil. It's pretty much right. And so this camera, which took a little bit of convincing to use, meant that our grip was an absolute fucking monster of
Beast.
Holding it where it needed to be, traveling fast, acting like a dolly. We had a lot of the toys that we needed, but we didn't have the time to set them up.
Yeah, that's a great lesson for any aspiring filmmaker or actor. I remember shots and things that still stand out to me, like even off the top of my head, even the start of Donnie Darko when the school bus, it just turns around, like, so things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Are what makes something really special. I can't wait to see it now. I'm so excited to see that.
Was those meetings and those talks with your DP, was that during pre-production? Did you have
it was actually just outside of it. We were all, because there wasn't the budget for it. So it was us coming to the party, and it was actually our cinematographer who has had years of experience who suggested it. And then we were like, okay. And then when he called it interrogating the script, we were like, oh, he knows what he's doing.
And I think part of the benefit of all of this process is in New Zealand, everything that is made has an element of fast turnaround about it. And often the scripts are like, I just filmed a show down in Queenstown where I didn't have a completed script until we started shooting. And it's very, very hard to prep a project with as much precision and detail as you're talking about, Rían, without the blueprint. Like, fucking, that's the thing that everyone has to honor and bring to life. And if you don't have that, it makes the job harder. Whereas for us, we had the scripts.
We had to have the scripts that early.
So creatively, we probably had the scripts 3 months out. I think, maybe I could be wrong about that. 6 weeks out.
Yep.
6 weeks out. Yeah. Yep. So before we shot, we had 3 months. So we had them for 6 weeks on our own, and then 6 weeks prep. But also for Holly, she needed the scripts finished because
I was playing Frankie, and the headspace I needed to get in for that character. There was no way I could be going home at night and changing lines and then relearning them and then trying to get into the headspace for this character. Mm-hmm. So it was such a blessing, and because I'm such a nerd, I was just so excited to have the scripts that ready.
Yeah,
so much benefit in having access to what it is that we're making in advance, so that we can even dream about it. You know, over the summer holidays or Christmas holidays. So it's our summer is Christmas time. The all of our heads of department had the scripts, and in early January we shot in mid-March. In early January, Holly and I sent out our mood boards for characters and mood boards for the locations.
And obviously I was well practiced because of my amazing vision boards.
Obviously.
So when it comes to mood boards.
And also, part of the whole process was being as accurate as we could with both the environment and the psychological elements for characters and sort of, for want of a better term, traumatic inflictions that they may have or addictions that they may carry. And so we were always using Holly as this sort of guiding light of going, should the walls be this texture? Do we need to have chicken wire on the windows so people can't break out? Do we need to, have we got plastic cutlery, or do we have metal that we're using? You know, for example, should there be access to knives in a place where people have suicidal ideation?
Yeah.
The answer is yes, turns out, which is sort of ties into some of Holly's own experience. And you kind of get this chance to go, we can be really accurate because we got the person that lived it right next to us.
Yeah, and that's I think been a huge part of the success of the show, is like bringing it back to what's real, what's truthful, because it is a comedy and you can fall into that really dodgy territory of making things tropey. But as long as those characters are playing it for truth and what's real, it works. And because I'd lived it, I'd never had to fabricate the world of mental health, and so it was such a joy for them to kind of rely on my lived experience, because normally there's so much shame that comes with having been in a mental institution. But here I was being like, yeah, the walls should be this color, and finding excitement about this really horrific experience.
Did you find it hard, Holly, to move between all of these different roles? Were you able to compartmentalize them, or was it just part of a holistic sort of a just creating?
It wasn't hard, and I think that was because I was a writer before we started shooting, and as soon as we started shooting, I was an actor, and they never really crossed over.
No. I think the only time there was a crossover is if we didn't have time. Sorry about that foot. If we didn't have time to shoot something, there would be a hard combo with Holly being like, if we have to lose this scene from the show, how do you feel about that? And so we ended up having to drop 2 scenes from the entire show that we, as in we couldn't shoot them because of time, which is all money related. And the audience will never know, but it was really important that we check with the writer at the time, the creator at the time, of going, here's the repercussion of that. This is what it'll do to the story, and this is what it'll do to your vision. How do you feel? So that was the only time we had to get you in that mode.
Yeah, and we also had a phenomenal producer, Britta Hawkins, who was able to, like, she shot a lot of great shows. And so she kind of, when it came to losing a scene, she was like, no, it'll still work for these reasons. So it's also about having that outside eye from your other team.
So you had all the scripts locked? Like, did you have a writing room, or did you literally write all these scripts on your own? You had a couple people to run it by. What was that process like?
So with our writer's room, we had myself, Emma, Britta, our producer, and my writing mentor, Sam Shaw, in the beginning, and then that switched to our writing editor, Emily Anderton. So
our buddy Brian Burstein.
Oh, Brian Burstein, who's based in New York. And so once we'd done the writer's room, I took those, made storylines, and then from there would make the episodes. But they would always go through the filter of Emma first, and then producer Britta and Emily Anderton would give notes, and then I would make whatever changes, and then that would go to network. So I was the sole writer. And I think actually that's a really wonderful thing with a project, because usually there's a different writer for each episode. But having a strong through line like that, I think that's part of the beauty of Crackhead as well. The voice didn't change.
Yeah,
it knew what the show was.
That's amazing. And I think that's a true testament, like you were saying, as far as like not a lot of network notes. The vision went through you and Emmett. There was just a clarity of it where you want all the best ideas in the room. That's great. But when you're actually in the chaos of not a huge budget production, having a straight path helps. You know what I mean?
That also carried all the way through to editing. We had an amazing editor, Alana Bazard, who Alana is like phenomenal with the pace at which she wants the story to truck along in. Sitting next to her the whole time, we just got to continue jamming on what the greater vision of the show is. And it was incredible. And
like full credit to Emmett, who was just like, our producer ended up calling you a scene fucker?
A frame fucker.
A frame fucker.
Because in the frame.
A scene fucker. Scene fucker is a completely different thing, but yeah.
Kahn's a scene fucker. Yeah, he will fuck your scene.
Yeah, exactly. We all have a scene fucker in our lives, but frame fucker, yes, I have heard that too.
His attention to detail is painful, but incredible.
Scenes have their own heartbeat. Music, there's a certain timing of when a cut should happen or a line should play out. We know this stuff from some of the stuff we've done with LK, right? Where you're going, oh yeah, this payoff doesn't work if this start plus isn't sort of front loaded with X or front loaded with Y. And so just sort of treating each scene like its own little microcosm of how do we get from A to B? Or, man, I mean, I'll be called a frame fucker any day because I'm really happy with the product we made.
Dude, I completely relate to you. When I edit, it does feel like playing music, not only doing audio, but also doing visual. It's like, there's so much that you can play with. It's amazing, but it's easy to get lost in it.
Totally. And we also had a great benefit of a really wonderful musician doing our score, Lachlan Anderson, who's from a rock band called Die Die Die. Crackhead was one that felt unique for his style, which was nice. And also a lot of New Zealand music that we got to just smash in there as well. I read a thing David Fincher said, what is it? The things that the audience don't notice are the things they appreciate the most, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it's sort of, it does make a difference if the cut is 3 frames later. It really does. Makes Crackhead what it is.
Can you talk a little bit about what it's like to be working together, directing, taking notes? Were there any challenges? You've been working together for a long time, but just in a higher stakes, higher pressure environment, what were the challenges of that artistic collaboration, personal or artistically?
It's hard for me to find the challenges because it's the way I want to work. This guy holds you as an actor in a scene, so you don't really have to worry that you suck, because it's true though, because you're looking for the best performance. But I've never felt like more safe or more held, and so for this kind of production, that's all you can hope for, because I was putting my heart, my personal experience, I was giving everything I had. I was so raw, so I just felt so held. And we speak a language, and I think not just as him directing an actor, but also when it comes to looking at the scene. And I think that is credit to Leslie Kahn and that granularity. Like, he would just be like, hey, can you thread this moment from A to B?
The only challenge in my mind that arose was, can I push Holly to do one more take?
Yeah.
That was a challenge, because she's going there with a lot of raw emotion, and a lot of the scenes are her. It feels a lot like Holly's reliving something that happened to her, or the experience, right? Which is also very challenging. But at the same time, this is a product that we're delivering to the best of our ability. And we go, okay, do I get Holly to do another take so that line is structured slightly differently? That monologue has a better build, or that moment has better timing on the turnaround. Just little things like that. And more often than not, it's, fuck it, I'll ask for another one, because we're all on the same page. How do I communicate that to Holly? That's, up to the moment, whether I'm enthusiastic about it or patient or quiet or whatever it is. And actually, I was originally going to play one of the roles, one of the actors, one of the characters. The woman who's number 2 on our call sheet, Anna Scottney, who's fantastic. We wanted her for a role. We sat down at a cafe with her, and she just spoke so deeply about the project, Holly's experience, what Holly was looking to achieve with this project, and how she identified within it. And both myself, Holly, and then our producer, Britta, who was in the meeting, we all messaged each other straight after, being like, I have to only be a director in this. These people need to be held in a very specific way, because we're asking them to do something very sensitive.
Yeah, we're really asking them to do everything my character does as well. It's like, go to a lived experience, go to that raw part of yourself and bring that. And they fucking did. But just, I think having someone like Emmett and our team give that space and hold them was so necessary.
Yeah, and there were intimacy coordinators, and we had guidance and support from a counsellor available to our cast at every moment.
I mean, that's why we're in this game, for those stories, though, isn't it? Like those ones with that heart are the most fulfilling to tell and fulfilling to perform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I only had one breakdown during the shooting of this. During lunchtime, around those times of, hey, should we drop this scene or not, so that we can actually make our day? And myself and DC, the DOP, Dave, we both were just like, fuck, some elements of this are relentless in terms of the pace we have to shoot at. And we were just like, we get one shot to make this show, this one, right? This is Holly's story. This is the world we want to bring to life. And we got one shot at it. And so it sort of feels like, I don't know, in a lot of sense, you're at the Olympics, and sort of like you got to keep going. You got to finish this thing. You got to complete this project to the best of your ability in every respect, because this is your shot.
Really speaks to your your commitment to the project overall, you know what I mean, to the project above anything else, and the reasons why you're doing it.
A lot of times when people put together projects, it's like to get a result or just get eyeballs.
That's exactly,
but it feels like the depth of the story almost feels bigger than yourselves. It feels like this was a personal need to get the story out there beyond just you guys as writers and actors and creators.
I mean, you said it.
Yeah, completely. I think Holly's had that need for a very long time. I think once Holly realized that she could turn her experience into something like this, she's had a fire to tell it.
It's like when you watch those films or you read those stories and they change your life. That was sort of, I think, the hope that we were going to affect people's lives.
Because it was affecting yours at the same time, I think. It was the need to share it, absolutely.
Like your new parents, that's incredible. How does that feel?
It's phenomenal because it's kind of a battle, you know. There's a lot of attention needed to keep a child content. We had this realization last night that we would certainly prefer life with her than without her. And also, about 2 weeks ago, Holly had the realization of what, Holly?
What?
How do we treat our night times now?
Oh, yeah. So we've got this chant now. And it's the motherfucking night shift, bitch. So I don't know if you guys, like, it's like a hospo job where you're just like, okay, I'm here and I'm ready to work.
And there's going to be grisly customers and they're going to want food every 2 hours. And there's only one of us that can give food to that thing every 2 hours.
This guy.
It's great. It's a real treat. And we released a show. They were only 3 weeks apart, the release of the show and the release of the baby. So we feel pretty damn fortunate. It's sort of all at once.
We're starting to wrap up here. Can you kind of give us your biggest lessons or tips for aspiring creators?
I think it was that thing I was saying at the beginning when I went into a meeting with Warner Brothers and you're just having a conversation with someone. I think if you can treat as much of your career like that, where it's just two humans meeting each other at the same level, that's been my favorite thing about Crackhead, because that's all it's been. Meeting people where they're at, having a conversation. It's never felt like, oh, you're the producer, oh, you're the network. So the more that we've been able to meet each other as humans, the more wonderful it's been.
I love that. That's what I love about this podcast, even, is the fact that, like, I wouldn't get the chance ordinarily to sit you guys down and ask you questions like this, you know what I mean, without the kind of the structure of this. It's unusual and I love it because, like, it's a really dedicated way to hear people's experiences. And I love that idea of just a conversation, because you're dead right. That's all it is. Everybody's just doing their best and it's just a conversation with another person.
Sorry, one last one. Did you feel major limitations with the less budget, or did you just feel like we're doing what we always did, we just have a little more time and money?
Do you want to answer it?
No, you answer it.
The budget doesn't mean, it means fuck all. Everyone came onto this project for less money than what exists. And we made the show I think we'd make if we had $1 billion budget. We just worked harder, and every single person on the project matched us.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. So we feel bloody lucky that we came out of it with the product that we do, because everyone's hard work and under budget work, right? No one deserved the amount of pay that they got. They could have done with double in a heartbeat on another production, but they came to the party because of what the show was. And so now being able to go, that's the show. This is what we made is pretty special.
This is so inspiring. And, you know, like Rían was saying, I'm so glad that we can actually talk about this, because we can only share so much during Leslie Kahn's share time. But this is, you know what I mean? We try to fit this in to our 15 minutes. You know what I mean? Hidden gems. If you have one, do you want to share?
Emma's going to share on behalf of us.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have a hidden gem or two. First actual hidden gem is I am absolutely loving Deadlock, which is LOCK.
Okay.
An Australian show on, I think it's on Prime. I imagine it's on Prime in the States.
Okay.
It's a crime comedy, but it is so fast paced It is dialogue driven, the filthiest language.
Love it.
And they still manage to keep you guessing where the crime story is going. But what's incredible about it is the use of language and how much dialogue is in there that feels like improvisation. All of it threads to something within the show. And the other thing that is helping us survive our motherfucking night shift is watching Game of Thrones again.
For the third time.
For the third time. And, you know, what's great about it is that we are watching it at a volume that we can sort of hear it, but also at a volume that we don't wake up our own little White Walker in the process. So it's really...
So we are, what are we? Knights of...
We are the Night's Watch.
You are the Night's Watch.
We are guarding the wall to make sure that the White Walkers don't ruin our evening. Yeah. So that's sort of the little... Interestingly enough, we really enjoyed Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which is a spin-off, half hour. It is a comedy, or has much more comedic elements, and it's a show that really knows where it stands alongside Game of Thrones, because this nostalgic, this amazing theme song that we've listened to for 8 seasons starts in Night of the Seven Kingdoms, and then the guy fucking shits everywhere with massive diarrhea against the tree, and the music cuts out.
Amazing.
And you're just so impressed that you're like, wow, this show knows exactly what it's doing. We're in.
That's awesome. Wow. Okay, you gave us a handful of hidden gems right there.
I'm gonna do. I think I've done this one before, but I'm gonna give him another plug because he's about to release a commercial for his voiceover demo services, and this is Alan Trinka,
nice.
who is in my class at Leslie Kahn on Tuesday nights, who's a brilliant actor and voiceover artist. He works a lot in voiceover, but he does voice demos, and his website is voicedemodude.com, and he's brilliant. So I'm just going to give Alan Trinka a little shout out there.
Cool. We got a wide-ranging hidden gems over here, and I guess I'll just bring us home. So I don't know if you guys have Ben and Jerry's. Do you have Ben and Jerry's over in New Zealand?
We don't.
Okay.
Do we have it here?
Yeah, the ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
We got it. Yeah. Okay. Oh, do we have it here?
I feel like we have it here, unless I had it in the States.
Now, here's the thing. They're giving out a free ice cream this Wednesday. Not joking around. Ice cream is great. Free ice cream is better. So, head over to your Ben and Jerry's. I hope they're doing the deal in New Zealand as well. But I do know this Wednesday in the States, Ben and Jerry will give you free ice cream. It's got to be worth the
flight, though.
Incredible. We'll be there.
We'll be there.
There you guys go. Thank you so much. This has been a treat.
Thank you for making the time,
Holly,
guys,
Emmett.
Thank you guys so much for having us. It's been a delight to jam.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. And I mean, knowing you guys from your working class, you guys are so specific in what you do and how you do it. So I love that this podcast exists.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. I love your chat around the Oscars and who should and shouldn't have won. So yeah, that's really great.
You kind of strong opinions.
It's really great to listen to it from an acting perspective and go, oh shit, man, these guys are a voice for us, which is nice. So thank you.
Oh, I love that. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate that. Well, thanks, guys. All right, we'll let you go back to your White Walker.
Thank you.
We held you guys long enough. Thank you so much.
Guys.
Thank you, guys.
Our pleasure.
Mwah.